As we have just seen, Arsenal are the champions of the 2020 FA Cup. And as you can see here, not that happy about it. But before we get started, everybody, if you can please hit like, hit subscribe so you can hear all things Champions League, all things Premier League, and I give you some Serie A information on what is going on. I'd really much appreciate it. But before we get started, let's talk about how well Arsenal played today. I think Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Maitland-Niles were both playing phenomenal football. That's before we get started with anything about the questionable Kovacic call. The call was questionable. I did not personally think he deserved a red, but at the same time, Arsenal was playing better than Chelsea the entire time. Arsenal were dominating some of our defense. You know, Maitland-Niles and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang played some great football. I have some notes written here. In the beginning of the game, I believe in the first 10-15 minutes, it looked like it was all Chelsea. As you can see, I'm drinking a Guinness here to mourn in this Chelsea loss. But as we saw in the first few minutes, it looked promising for Chelsea. As we saw, Christian Pulisic scored in the first 5 minutes of the game, which was a great play. Great run from him in the middle, passed it to Mason Mount on his left. Mason Mount passed it to Olivier Giroud, which Giroud had a nice one flick pass to Christian Pulisic, and he got around Kieran Tierney, and he scored a spectacular goal. Great performance from Pulisic and Mason Mount and Giroud on that play. I had a note here that said Captain America is that damn good. He is that damn good. He did a great performance, great game. Would love to see it. Another one thing I've noticed is, as much as I love him, Reece James was getting exposed on that side. We saw, like I said before, Maitland-Niles and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang were both playing great, and their pace was phenomenal today. I saw Reece did not have the best of games, but at the same time, neither did any of the defenders, as we saw the same thing happen with Cesar Azpilicueta, as that's what we are getting into. Some people were texting me saying it looked like Aubameyang was playing for the foul. Regardless or not, it was a foul on Azpilicueta, and it led to Aubameyang's penalty. And before that even, the tide's already turning, as we did see that beautiful shot by Pepe, where he left Caballero standing. It was a beautiful shot, and that was called offside. So at that point, Arsenal had technically scored a goal. It got sent off. But Arsenal, they were bringing the heat at this moment already, and Aspi could not deal with Abba at that moment, and we saw led to the penalty. And so at that point, Arsenal had the reins of the game. They were completely controlling that end of the first half. As I'm looking here at my notes, Rudiger did not play that well, as he was being exposed as well. Arsenal came with a lot of pace today and some great over passes. I was very impressed with them there. Let's talk about Aspi's hamstring, it looks like. At first, I was afraid that it might have been a torn ACL, but I'm not so sure. He did walk it off, so I don't think it was. What is up with Chelsea? Because we saw Aspi getting injured with the hamstring, and then we also saw Christian Pulisic get hurt. So it made me wonder, what was up with the training from Lampard? How intense was it? How much was he preparing these guys? Or is it the staff at Chelsea? Because we've seen them plagued with injuries all season long, it seems like. We have N'Golo Kante, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Pulisic has been out for parts of the year as well. We've seen a lot of nicks and knacks on the team, and today we saw no different from that. But I do want to say one thing to Christian Pulisic is, what a man, what a guy. He still was able to shoot the ball after we saw him pull that hamstring. We saw him screaming in pain, and he still got the shot off, so congratulations to him. He was the biggest spark for Chelsea today, and it was sad to see him gone, as he has been since Project Restart has gone underway. Christian Pulisic has been playing out of this world. It's been a joy to watch. Sad to see him walk out like that. I'm excited to see him next year. But yeah, that was sad, and Azpilicueta was sad as well. And again, I do want to say Hector Bellerin's run for that second goal was unbelievable. I believed he did the nutmeg, and he got the pass out, and then Aubameyang had that great cut in to get the goal, and great goal from Arsenal all around. What a game. And then after that, we had the Kovacic situation where, like I said, personally I wouldn't have called that red, but Chelsea were already down and Arsenal were dominating at that point of the game already. It is sad to see. This is now the Kovacic also was unlucky in the Liverpool game, where some people say that was not a foul that led to the Trent Alexander-Arnold free kick. So we're to see how that is. But again, congratulations to Arsenal. They played great. It was good for Arteta to get a trophy in after finishing 8th to prove that he is the man for the job. And for Chelsea, where they are standing, they have the Champions League game at Bayern Munich, which we all know they lost 3-0 in the first leg, so we do not believe that they will come back from that in the second leg, especially in Germany. And Bayern are starting to look like favorites in the Champions League. I do believe Chelsea now have to put all into next year. As we've said before, Timo Werner is now in, Hakim Ziyech is now in, potentially Kai Havertz. There's now rumors with Manuel Neuer coming in at goal. So there's a lot of movement going on in Chelsea right now, and they need to fix some key situations. As for Arsenal as well, this might prove big shouts to the board that Arteta is the man for the job. He needs the funds. He needs to sign Aubameyang to the deal, to the contract that Aubameyang deserves. And it's going to be interesting for both teams moving forward. Arsenal have had a lot of success in the FA Cup, especially under Arsene Wenger. That was almost his trophy. We know we can one day probably say the FA Cup is named after Arsene Wenger. I don't think anyone might ever win more than he had. It was a fun final to watch, It definitely was a good final to watch. It was very interesting. Oh, I also, before I go on, I want to say to Pedro that I'm not sure what happened exactly. It looks like it was his shoulder, as we saw him getting oxygen in the end of the game. He had a great Chelsea career. That was definitely his last match, and I'm sorry for him, as he did sign to finish off the season, and that's his last game, and he has to go to Roma. So I'm sure Roma is not too happy about this at the moment. But Pedro has been a very good player for Chelsea through the years, and it's very sad to see him go off that way. I don't think anybody wants to see anyone get hurt. Like I said again, 3 injuries for Chelsea today. We had Cesar Azpilicueta, Christian Pulisic, and Pedro. So it was very upsetting to see that happen. Of course, no fan of either team wants to see injuries. They're not pleasant. It can end some careers. I don't think it would end Pulisic's or Pedro's or Aspi's career, but very sad to see. No one wants to see that. But again, moving forward for Arsenal, it's going to be very interesting to see now what happens with Arteta in charge. He got his first trophy in his first year. Lampard is still trophyless. Second job managing. 2 years in. Of course, Derby was a pretty good year, but nothing there. Chelsea finished 4th. Great job. No trophy, even though you lost in the final. So it's going to be very interesting to see these 2 young, really young, bright coaches. It looks like both of them have a bright future. And it's going to be very interesting to see these 2 battling out again next year, and what is happening with these clubs. As we have seen now, Chelsea have started to spend again. It looks like Roman Abramovich is using that pocket money that he has. Again, also a lot of it comes from the Morata sale and Hazard sale. And the Morata sale has not been official yet, but I believe we all know it is coming. So bright things from both teams moving forward. Once again, congratulations to Arsenal to be able to turn around the season from after finishing in the 8th place spot, which was a big disappointment to them, to be able to come back around and win the FA Cup final, a trophy that Arsenal have a lot of experience winning. It was a fun final, great London derby. Cheers, guys.